Let us also remember the violence of our past and present, which has taken from many the opportunity to be and become fathers, so that we can heal the legacy of violence that has been gifted to us. Today, we speak blessings over fathers, regardless of gender, who have been wise, gentle, and kind. We thank you. We see you. We love you. May fathers present today and those who have gone before us know delight in their faithfulness. For those who struggle to be present and tender fathers, we ask your Spirit to unburden. May they know, too, that they are born of love to know love. For those who have complex father relationships, we ask for tender mercies and the healing of wounds. May the children born of them have unegoed divine masculine love shown to them. We speak life today over fathers, that they may know love and be loved to their children in gentle strength, faithful presence, and calm, patient wisdom. May all fathers imitate your love, cosmic God, by which we have been made one family, each of us to be cherished, fed, and protected. We pray in the Spirit of Christ and these adopted words of St. Francis of Assisi, adapted. May you, fathers, be agents of love in this world. Where there is hatred, may you bring empathy. Where there is hurt, forgiveness. Where there is doubt, encouragement. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sorrow, joy. May you console, may you understand, may you love yourself and all that you meet. For in giving, you receive. In forgiving, rage recedes. When the ego is surrendered, community is found. Amen. Let us greet one another in the name of love, community, and acceptance. Find somebody you don't know and ask them what brought them here today. What engages them in this faith community. Hey, House Church, come on back and worship with us. Take a moment to remember who God is and who I am. There you go, lifting my load again. There you go, lifting my load again. No longer am I held by the yoke of this world. Come up under the yoke of Jesus. His yoke is easy, his burden is so light. Yeah, his burden is so light. Sing no longer with me. No longer am I held by the yoke of this world. Come up under the yoke of Jesus. His yoke is easy, his burden is so light. Yeah, his burden is so light. You're lifting my load. 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 Your love carries, your love carries me through all the valleys and the darkest places. Your love carries, your love carries me through all the valleys and the darkest places. Your love carries, your love carries me through all the valleys and the darkest places. Your love carries, your love carries me through all the valleys and the darkest places. Saturate me with your love, God. Soak me in your presence. Saturate me with your kindness. Overwhelm my heart with love. So this song, I wrote this song, gosh, 2020, before COVID, I think. I went to visit Paige and Nikki, and Paige had not picked up her guitar all weekend. And then the last morning that we were there, I got up early and I sat down with a blank piece of paper, and these words just started flowing out of me. And so she came stumbling out of the kitchen, all tired girl, you know, and I said, "Do you have your guitar?" And she said, "I do." So she sat down and she started playing and I started singing, and that's how this song came about. And hopefully we get to actually record it someday. Saturate me with your love, God. Soak me in your presence. Saturate me in your kindness. Overwhelm my heart with love. Saturate me with your love, God. Soak me in your presence. Saturate me with your kindness. Overwhelm my heart with love. You, yes, I love you. You are tried and true. Yeah. How I love you. Yes, I love you. You are tried and true. So my control, God. I release the need to know. I release all my control, God. I release the need to know. Because I trust you. Yes, I trust you. You are tried and true, yeah. Because I trust you. Yes, I trust you. You are tried and true. I release all my control, God. I release the need to know. I release all my control, God. I release the need to know.
Make me like Jesus. My heart is an open space for you to come. Have your way. I am open. I am open. My heart is an open space for you to come. Have your way. I am open. I am open. I am open. You're faithful to find me right where I am. Oh, and even in my wandering, you call me friend. Mercy receives me, lifts me to my knees, and I'm caught up in the wonder and mystery of knowing Jesus, of knowing Jesus. My heart is an open space for you to come. Have your way. I am open. I am open. My heart is an open space for you to come. Have your way. I am open. I am open. And do whatever you wanna do. And say whatever you wanna say. And move however you wanna move. And change whatever you wanna change. And do whatever you wanna do. And say whatever you wanna say. And move however you wanna move. And change whatever you wanna change. My heart is an open space for you to come. Have your way. I am open. I am open. My heart is an open space for you to come. Have your way. I am open. I am open. My heart is an open space for you to come. Have your way. I am open.
Do you need a word from God
I
tonight?
am open.
Maybe you can just make that declare and say, God, I'm open to you. I'm not exactly sure what I need, but God, if you would just meet me and do what only you can do. Do what only love and only mystery can do. I'm open. My heart may not feel as open as I'd like it to feel, but by faith I'm saying that my heart is open. That I am open to you. Maybe we can sing that one more time and you just make that your prayer and your cry out to God today.
My heart is an open space for you to come. Have your way. I am open. I am open. My heart is an open space for you to come and have your way. I am open.
Yes.
I am open.
Yes, that's a good prayer. That's a good prayer to pray. joy, to pure love that will never take advantage of our open spaces. Amen. Thank you, band. Why don't you give them a great hand for this so good. You guys, we're so grateful for all of us to be in the house today on this Father's Day. Also, it's the summer solstice. It's the summer solstice, meaning it's the longest day in the northern hemisphere and the shortest day in the southern hemisphere. It's always a yin-yang, isn't it? There's always something, polarities, right? That's where we get the whole idea of polarities, is from our Earth. There's different things happening on the different poles, you know? So that's interesting. Yeah, Jessica, you can go ahead and cue up that first one. And I'm going to say a few words about it. Yeah, don't start it just yet. Just get it on deck, as we used to say. Get it on deck. And so roll it back just a little bit, if you can rewind it from the beginning. Today I want to have an interactive, fun kind of message for Father's Day. Since we have all the youth in the house today, I'm going to be looking to you guys to help us create a message together. It's going to be on redeeming surrender, or learning how to be held. Nothing too deep for Father's Day, right? I'm just kidding, that was a joke. Because usually with all of my kind of people, which you are, we have been through quite a bit with regard to our relationship with parents, our relationship with family, and our relationship with faith. Have you ever heard of the term deconstructing? Okay, if you have heard of the term deconstructing, if you have ever been in a space of deconstruction, that's usually where people are coming into house church. They are deconstructing from something. And then somewhere along the way, there's an invitation to reimagine and reconstruct, start to rebuild and reframe how we are in relationship with ourselves and with the divine. And so wherever you are on your journey of deconstruction or reconstructing or reimagining what it's like to be in relationship, it's safe. It's safe for you to be here. I hope we make that clear, that it's safe for you to have your questions and your wonderings. Oh yeah, shout a big amen. Yes, I like that. And so we're going to have some fun today with this message because the word surrender, I just felt y'all clench up. Even when I said it, you're like, surrender. But that has been in some ways weaponized against people, especially in religious spaces. That idea and concept of surrender. And I'm going to open us up for conversation as we go through this. So collect your thoughts as you have them. You can go ahead and write them on your notebook or whatever, because I'm going to give us adequate enough space to have a conversation about these things near the end. And then we're going to have time for auction and so forth. But I want you to start gathering your thoughts. And this is kind of a preliminary idea of what it will be like when you have your questions in the box and we start to have these sort of deeper conversations about the hard questions of life and the hard questions of faith and of religious constructs and concepts through the summer. I kind of want us to begin today with me taking the lead on this one, just to kind of let you know what it could be like to unpack a concept together that has been traditionally weaponized against communities and people. The idea of surrender to something that is more in control of you, and that you had to have maybe like a submissive status, you know, or like, well, I'm going to get ahead of myself. So in this clip, we have two clips that I want to show you today. This clip is called Menzies. Nick, do you guys remember this show, The New Girl? Okay, so Nick, in this clip, Nick meets Tran, the elderly man who never speaks. Tran eventually takes Nick to a spa, cradles him in the water like an infant, and tells him, "You are a huge baby." Nick experiences an unexpected peace and release through being held. In the other scene, Nick is overwhelmed and someone physically holds him while telling him he's just a big baby. Again, the joke is that this tough, stubborn, hyper-independent adult is actually carrying the needs of an exhausted child underneath. The comedy works because it exposes something true. This sermon, while I want to touch and hint on this concept of surrender and how it's been weaponized for us through our family systems and also through our religious systems, this sermon is not really about surrender. That would be too on the nose for my taste, but it's rather about being held, which is also very difficult for people who have been wounded and hurt by religious systems or family systems. So, yes, go ahead, Jess, and let's go ahead and turn it up. Good?
Please don't do that, sir. Please, I would love to sit by myself right now.
There's something real creepy about you, pal. You want to get weird? Let's get weird. You got a nice face. Anger problem? Living with them? Are you kidding me?
It's frustrating. It's like, just get a job.
I like your hat. I like how it's not a team or a logo, it's just blue. Would you rather be covered in fish scales or feathers? Scales. Why, you weirdo? You want to see me jump really high?
I'm afraid of dying, man.
Who am I? Enemy is enemy. The enemy is the inner me. Do you understand a word I'm saying? You just nodded everything. I need to change. And you showed me that. I have an anger problem. Thank you. Can I get a hug?
Nice and high, George.
What does this mean? Let's not do this. Let's not take off our clothes. Let's go back to the park where it was good. What do I know? We're taking our pants off? Yeah, keep those underwear on, alright? Yeah. Stay on, underwear good. Why are you crying over me like a baby, friend? This is about how guys in my generation hang out. This is going like they got away from me, man. Oh, that's fun. That's it, man.
Thank you, Jess. That's good. So the joke, of course, is that Nick Miller is a grown man with a lot of issues going on for him, and he is just starting to wake up with what's happening on the inside of him. And he has opinions, he thinks he's independent, yet somehow, the moment someone holds him and fights past his resistance, he seems to calm down just a little bit. This Tran that's holding him says, "You are a huge baby." And because he is relaxed a little bit, he's able to say, "Yes, I am a huge baby." Father's Day is complicated because some of us have had fathers who held us safely, and some of us had fathers who taught us that survival was entirely up to us, that it was not safe to be held. Some of us learned that we could trust the parent in the home, and some of us learned how to be hyper vigilant and tied up because to release or to trust was unsafe. We, in most of our identities here and really just as a human being in 2026. We are a people who have learned how to resist. We resist oppression. We resist abuse. We resist being taken advantage of. We resist domination. We resist religious toxicity. We have learned how to differentiate and to resist and to not let much of anything in. We're learning how to resist unhealthy authority within our family systems and within our religious systems, our political systems. And I do thank God for that. It is important that the culture understands how not to just take what the authority is saying or what the authority is demanding of us. I think in generations past, it's created a lot of harm for people. And so there has to be, in some ways, this polar swing where we start to resist everything and push out. But somehow along the way, and I think it's interesting that we're talking about this on the summer solstice, where we're in this exact polarity between the north and the southern hemisphere. I really want you to think about these polar swings that we do when we're learning something. When we're learning something as a culture, learning something as a human being, sometimes we have to swing way from where we were, right, all the way over here. But then there's this invitation to come and to integrate all of these things from the past. Because somewhere, I think along the way, many of us have accidentally concluded that surrender to anything is the enemy, because that always led to harm. And we become experts at protecting ourselves. We really don't invite a trusting posture. We're suspect of everything, resisting of everything. What's the catch? When is the rug going to get pulled out from underneath me? I know I can trust you now. What's going to be here? And we end up anticipating danger in everything that we're participating in, such that we end up holding everything together, and now we're exhausted. Because who can you trust? That's kind of been the way, that it is. And this example here, this really touched me, because I was actually working with someone who's just at the beginning of their deconstruction from a religious, closed, and literal belief system. And one of their biggest issues is they want to have God back in their life again. So they're back into the God space, God back into church, but there's certain language and words that are still very triggering to them. And one of those words was surrender. Because their very conservative parents have said, well, you just got to surrender your life to God. And you got to surrender your will to God's will, whatever that is, And you've got to, give up your way for God's way. Well, and the fear there is that if I give up control, what is God going to do to me? If I give up my control, what is God going to do with me, to me, about if I'm not in control, then can I trust that? And the reason these clips came up, because I was suggesting a different picture of surrender that was less about surrendering to a power over, but surrendering or relenting to a partnership with. And that's usually where I start with people who are reimagining an image of the divine. Is not something that we have to serve and look up to, but something that is within and with, as partner with. You don't have to get stuck on what kind of partner. There's all kinds of qualifiers for the type of partner. But it is this divine that is working with and collaborating with and creating with you. And ultimately supporting you from all around. Jesus said that the Father, that the ones who want to be the greatest have to be the least among you. The way that Jesus was in power dynamics was very much the supporter of all, the coming up underneath. That's why his way of leading was so different from what people were expecting. They were expecting this big, valiant guy on a big horse with a big military force with lots of strength and power and dominion and might to exercise sovereign authority over all of the earth. That's the picture that they thought, because they had the Roman Empire to look at. They had this Roman Empire that was like sort of taking over everything. And Jesus said, I come to you kneeling and taking off the protection, washing the feet, and being with you at the dinner table, and with you in the drink, and with you in the bread, and with you in your sickness, and with you in your sadness. Jesus' way of leading and was very much a partnership with. Even the prophet Isaiah said, God, blessed be the Emmanuel, the one that is coming, that is going to be God with us. It's different than the God over us. And when I suggested this new picture of imagining what surrender might look like, they came up with these clips. And when I saw them, I just busted a gut laughing at those clips. You've got to watch them on your own when you could really hear and see what they're saying. It's so funny. It's interesting to see that the person listening, doesn't feel the need to respond right away, doesn't feel the need to answer the questions for him, but rather allowing him to discover his own wisdom within himself. Yeah. Now, that is the sign of a good guide, a good leader, is the one that understands that, hey, you have autonomy and agency. Man, you've got the power within you. Let's together take you to the still waters so that your soul can remember who you are and whose you are. Let's take you together. Let's do this together. I love it that he actually takes him into a pool and uncomfortably holds him. I certainly wouldn't want to be in that position with my mentor. Would you? How about you and I? We just go get the spa today, and I'll just do that to you. No, nobody wants that, right? But I just wonder metaphorically, if there's someone in your life that you feel safe enough with, that you can let your soul be held by the waters of reflection. If there's someone in your life where you don't have to be big and tough. My wife and I have talked for years about the difference between tough and strong. Tough is like shoe leather, like beef jerky, like tough, hard. But oh man, true strength knows how to kneel. True strength knows how to relax and open and be transparent. What if we had parents and were the parents that knew how to tap into our vulnerable spaces? If you have grown children and maybe you were the tough guy all through their growing up years, it's not too late. It's not too late. They've been waiting for you. Guaranteed. And you say, well, I can't let them see. I can't let them see how hard I've struggled because that might make them struggle hard. That's just not how it works. It's in the giving that we receive. It's in the showing that we are shown. It's in the releasing that we are received. It's in the forgiving that we are released. I loved that prayer that Chris brought forward today. It is in our being with and our ability to trust something. I want to read this old story that I stopped reading in 2021. Now, you know how I do the two babies in a womb for Mother's Day every year? Well, I used to do this story before the pandemic of Father's Day about a family that goes to Disney World. And somewhere along the line, I just stopped doing it. And I think somehow it's because I've been always on vacation on this day because it's my birthday. And usually it's Heidi preaching, and I guess we just don't normally do that. So I'm happy to be here. It's nice to be here today. And I had a great birthday also. Your girl is 48 now. So listen to this short story. And I just haven't read it in 5 years, and I wanna do it. A short story from a book I found a long time ago by Timothy Paul Jones. I never dreamed that taking a child to Disney World would be so difficult. Brown family, can you get an amen? Or that such a trip could teach me so much about God's outrageous grace. Our middle daughter had been previously adopted by another family. I am sure this couple had the best of intentions, but they never quite integrated the adopted child into their family of biological children. After a couple of rough years, they dissolved the adoption, and we ended up welcoming an 8-year-old girl into our home. For one reason or another, whenever our daughter's previous family vacationed at Disney World, they would take their biological children with them, but they left their adopted daughter with a family friend. Usually, at least in the child's mind, this happened because she did something wrong that precluded her presence on the trip. And so by the time we adopted her, she had seen many pictures of the Disney World and the vacation, that she had heard about the rides and the characters and the parades. But when it came to passing through the gates of the Magic Kingdom, she had always been the one left on the outside. Once I found out about this history, I made plans to take her to Disney World. I thought I knew what to expect once we would arrive to Disney World. What I didn't expect was that the prospect of visiting this dream world would produce a stream of downright devilish behavior from our newest daughter. In the month leading up to our trip to the Magic Kingdom, she stole food when a simple request would have gained her a snack. She lied when it would have been easier to tell the truth. She whispered insults that were carefully crafted to hurt her older sister as deeply as possible. And as the days on the calendar moved closer to the trip, her mutinies multiplied. A couple of days before our family headed to Florida, I pulled our daughter into my lap to talk through her latest escapade. "I know what you're going to do," she stated flatly. "You're not going to take me to Disney World, are you?" Now, the thought hadn't actually crossed my mind, but her downward spiral suddenly started to make some sense. In retrospect, I'm embarrassed to admit that in that moment, I was tempted to turn her fear to my own advantage. The easiest response would have been, "Well, if you don't start behaving better, you're right, we won't take you." But by God's grace, I didn't do that. Instead, I asked her, "Is this trip we're doing something as a family?" She nodded, her little eyes wide and tear-rimmed. "Are you part of this family?" She nodded again. "Then you're going with us. Sure, there may be some consequences to your actions, but you're part of our family, and we're not leaving you behind." I'd like to say that her behaviors suddenly grew better after that moment, but they didn't. Her choices pretty much spiraled out of control at every hotel and rest stop all the way there, and we headed to Disney World on the day we had promised, and it was a typical, amazing, and memorable Disney day. In our hotel room that evening, a very different child emerged. She was exhausted, pensive, and a little weepy, but her month-long facade of rebellion had faded. When bedtime rolled around, I prayed with her, held her, and asked, "So how was your first day at Disney World?" She closed her eyes and snuggled down into her stuffed unicorn. After a few moments, she opened her eyes ever so slightly. "Daddy," she said, "I finally got to go to Disney World." But it wasn't because I was good. It's because I am yours. as I move to close and as we open our space to talk a little bit about what is coming up for you during this message, from the clips all the way through this story. What if, like Jesus in the garden, what if our obedience to this divine is not so much about obedience, like not my will but yours be done, but it's about trust in a loving presence. We don't see Jesus as surrendering because he's weak. Jesus is surrendering because he trusts the one holding him. Surrender, my friends, if I can submit to you, is not about giving away your power. Surrendering is releasing what was never yours to carry.
I want to use the bathroom.
Get it? Surrender is not about becoming smaller. Surrender is discovering that love can be trusted. It is not defeat. It's allowing yourself to be held by something larger than yourself. That is worth trusting. Through all of our accomplishments and activisms and resistance, through all of our theology, our deconstructions, our reconstructions, our family systems, the ways that this world in 2026 have hurt us and harmed us, there is still a little child in there, no matter how big you are, no matter how old you are, who's exhausted and really wants to trust something. I hope that today, our church can be kind of like that spa moment with Tran. When we come in here, I hope that you feel held. I hope that your fightings and your wrestlings and your grapplings and your ha-da-da and your oh my God and all the things, I think together over the years, we have created that kind of space in here. We have created a place where the music is like, well, not exactly like that lady with the recorder, but the music kind of lulls us and woos us. We're able to speak and think and grieve. All of our parts are welcome. And I believe what we might be learning in this house is how to be held. I think we might be learning how to be held differently for the very first time, maybe for the first time. I'm curious if we could take maybe 5 to 7 minutes and have just an open conversation about what has come up for you, and what you're thinking about. Maybe we can get as many voices in the space as possible if you can kind of keep it on the shorter side. The shorter side of Sears. What was that? The softer side of Sears. Keep it on the shorter side of speaking. I don't know. What's going on with you? How was that for you? Look, I spoke a whole message about surrendering to God, and I don't think anybody ran out of the building. Yeah.
I think for me, it's easier to follow the rules and do what I think I'm supposed to be doing than to surrender to the vulnerability of being held.
It's easier to follow the rules instead of surrendering to the vulnerability of being held.
That's the story that I've been given. The story for me is that if you follow the rules, then you belong.
If you follow the rules, you belong. Yeah.
So, yes, I want the experience of being held in love, and that is what I'm learning and I'm leaning into. But it's not as comfortable because it's really not familiar and it feels really unsafe. Because how do I know that the person who's holding me isn't going to just let go and I'm going to drown?
That's real. Yeah.
Can you reiterate her point a little bit? I couldn't hear very well.
Just nervous about how to actually surrender to that love, because what if that love doesn't hold her? What if it doesn't hold them? And can you really trust that the thing you're releasing into is actually going to hold you? Is that close? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm an eldest daughter, so I like being in control and I like being busy. So I think what really stuck out for me is to stop being distracted by being busy and just come to Him and surrender in that way instead of constantly distracting myself.
Yeah, and I love that you named like your position in your family and like to help us like see. I mean, because positionality matters, right? Knowing where you're coming from, your context, your ethnicity, your social economic status, all those things, and just in your sibling order, I think it's important to note that you always probably felt some. What would you think you have felt by staying busy and staying productive?
I'm holding other people, so it's hard for me to be helpful.
Yes. Subgroup. Subgroup. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's subgroup that. Yeah. What would it feel like if I can? I know we don't know each other very well, but I wonder what it would feel like for you to be held. What would that experience be like?
Vulnerable.
Would that be a good thing?
Probably.
Something to explore in your journal, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. What's coming up for you guys? Let's go ahead, yeah. Speak up nice and loud.
Grief around it, and also realizing there's a coupling of surrender and things being taken from you in that law, and uncoupling those ideas.
Can you speak it just a little bit louder?
Yeah, like, so the idea that there's grief around the fact that this has been so misrepresented in my experience.
Yes.
The idea of surrender. And also that there's a lot of untangling I need to do still between the idea of surrender and that's immediately one lesson being taken.
Being taken from, yeah.
It's like it's not just a neutral or a domination, it's actual taking away.
Yeah. As in the way the word is used, like when you surrender your property. Right. Or surrender your goods.
Yeah, so I'm an active Reds shooter.
Go ahead and speak loud.
Yeah, so I can say
Oh, don't wait for me.
I'm an active Reds shooter.
Okay.
So like when it first started, it was very interesting because it was mostly like more progressive population. Then people started coming over from X, and it was mostly the cis white male who wants to come and like tell everyone that they're doing wrong or that they had their own space, and they came over just to like grab their little cornflakes. And the prevailing theme is just it's all men, and that really resonated with me because I first was like, hey, I'm a man, I don't want to be associated with that. But then as more I got into it, it's like it really is all men. It's either the men who are causing the problem or the men who are allowing it to happen. Like we have the power, to call out those behaviors and to be better. And I just realized that this message is that sometimes the surrender is just surrendering your pride and surrendering that feeling of like, I'm not one of those men. But are there situations where I could have said something? Or when I could have spoken out? And so part of me is surrendering. Showing that it's not all, it doesn't have to be all men. Because most men, they do kind of suck, so and the better men overcome those that hopefully vocal men and be better.
I just love that so much, Sean. Thank you for speaking that in this space. You got it, we love you, Sean. I just thank you for modeling all the men in the house for modeling that. And the women, it's not just a gender thing, right? It's a mindset.
Yeah.
that has been adopted from the dominant culture. And those dominant culture characteristics can be embodied by a female-looking person or a male-looking person. It's the mindset of power over and dominance and certainty being king, and rugged individualism and pulling yourself up by your roots. It's that dominant Western culture that can be embodied. Because I just want to say, to help you unpeel your biases, it's a mindset. It's a cultural burden that we carry, whether we are female-looking people or male-looking people. So it's not just one sex or the other that is the problem. It's the cultural mindset, right? Does that make sense? Does that help you heal a little bit more and allow yourself to be male and be female and unburden your cultural burdens? Because in every country it's a little different. Right? I know that was a little deep, that was a little turn, but that's for our cultural competence, right? To not other a certain gender. Because therefore we are just doing the very thing we didn't want done to us. So I really appreciate you holding the tension between those polar opposites and to being in that space. Because you embody white cisgender men so beautifully.
Actually, when I mostly worried walking around, immediately get stereotyped. And I immediately walk in the room and people feel unsafe. Burdens me a lot. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the glorification of Elon Musk, to me, is the personification of what's wrong with our society. He's everything it should not be. And
It's great, Dad.
I sat down with that.
Yes. I feel that. Thank you for naming that. Yes. And that's so solidly in space. I'm going to see that. Yeah. More on that. Morgan, I heard you say yes.
I just want to say that, this sermon in general, when you think of it, I'm a lot closer to my stepdad than I am with my actual father.
Okay.
And I'm just I feel like a lot of people assume it's going to be the opposite, but I feel like I've always gravitated towards him a lot more because it's he's done an amazing job of putting me in a position where I feel safe with him, and I feel like I can talk to him, and I have he is someone that makes me feel safe in a space with him, and I feel like I'm just I'm very grateful that I have a father figure in my life that I can actually feel safe around and feel like I can talk to.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so glad you shared that. That's so cool. He happens to be here today. Yes.
Yeah, the father images in our lives aren't always biological father.
I love that you said energies. Yeah.
Because just like the word mother or the father doesn't have anything to do with biology, it has to do with presence and children. It's like a mother. It's providing that safe, massive upstairs.
Yeah.
And it's safe. And it doesn't have to come from, has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with that social construct. But it's that energy that's provided of a shelter, of that encompassing. And like Sean was saying, you look at me, I'm 6.5 feet tall, 300 pounds. You don't know me from Adam without John. And I walk into this space, I have to be cautious all the time. Where I'm walking, what I'm doing. you know, and granted, everybody knows I'm the biggest Uber safe.
We have other words we use. Thank you for putting that in the space and just kind of elevating that bias and the stereotypes that you're challenged with. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that in parking garage at work. Like, go down the elevator, listen to email. I will purposely take a long quick. Almost like I do this because I don't hurt that for them to feel like I don't say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm suddenly filled with compassion for all of the men who have been conditioned to think that surrender is power over them or their power over another, and how in this religious culture that we're trying to break free from, God has been inserted into that. Like, God is the one that we bow down and surrender to, so therefore that's been passed down from generation to generation. These men that feel like they have to be big and power over in their families, as opposed to coming alongside and partnering with and walking with. And I'm grateful to have men in this congregation and women who are willing to do that, who I see it over and over again in this community. Parents that are willing to come alongside and be with and hold and listen and allow you to feel what you're feeling and walk through that with you, as opposed to this idea of you have to feel your feelings the way I think you should feel them and express them in a way that I think is okay. And we don't have that here, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful that we're not trying to fight that. Yeah, we're not trying to dominate. Yes, and I do have compassion for the so many male figures out there who are just inundated with that conditioning, and they haven't even begun to even think about whether or not it's right to untake all of that. You know, they're just stuck in it.
Well, I think we are cultivating models and representation for the kind of community we want to be, and the kind of generation we want to be inside of this particular state in which we live. And I think it's a really beautiful way to hold tension here. I want to do a couple more things, and I'll take you. Yes. Were you yes?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I took a minute to look up the etymology of the word, and part of it, the render, that last part of surrender, is to restore us. And I think about, I grew up with all male cousins and all brothers, and so pretty rough and tumble kid, anger first, was a really angry person when things happened, like injustices happened to me or around me. And, got in a lot of fights as a young person, and also carried into being a really angry parent when I was first a parent. And something that I worked really hard on the last few years is, I didn't put this together, but it's like, instead of surrendering to the dominant culture or surrendering to it's okay to be angry and to lash out and to do whatever to justify it, is to render us, restore us back to myself, back to love. And so oftentimes now I do feel that anger, but it goes to compassion so quickly, to try to figure out where the other person is coming from, and also to be tender-hearted in my own self, to be vulnerable, to show in love, and because I think love is the greatest purifier. It helps us to go back and surrender back to, or restore us back to what we've been conditioned to forget.
It's amazing. Yeah, that's so good. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. I'm thinking that I would just love to have a magic table of food come into the middle of this house, and we could all just have lunch together and talking, and looking at the time And I'm just so grateful for the people that are here today, just how we've been able to have this genuine conversation. I want to shift gears a little bit so that we can do communion on our worship stations. And also want to say that you may have noticed that April Hammonds is not here today. And I don't want you to go, don't go just yet because I need you here for a moment. Oh, also Morgan is going to be our auctioneer today for the which I think is really cool. April Hammonds is not here today, and I wanted you to know that she had a complication during a biopsy procedure on Thursday, and she's been in the hospital all weekend and just went home yesterday, but ended up getting, what is it called when you have a pneumothorax, so a collapsed lung, and she's doing great though. She's doing really good, but that's where she is today, so big props to Piper and Morgan for holding up Children's Church today and the nursery workers. But she would love a text for you guys, just to give her some love. And then also, Troy and Lisa Mahoney came to House Church in 2022, and came from a church at which they were members for 20 years or so, actively serving and wanting an open and inclusive ministry and church to be a part of. And they came in 2022 and have been faithfully serving alongside Jewel and Teresa Dammy and Vicki Williams in the early morning setup crew. These folks have been here pretty much every Sunday. I would say 48 Sundays out of a year. They come to House Church and help prepare communion and get the house ready, which means they arrive here like 9 o'clock in the morning and 9:30 most Sundays. They just showed up. We didn't even really ask for it, but they were like, we're gonna show up and help. It's back in 2022. And they came to me last week and said, we're feeling like we need a change of routine and a little bit of a break. And we're wondering if it's almost like a sabbatical. We need a 3-month sabbatical from doing this routine on a Sunday morning that we've been doing for 4 years now. And that made a lot of sense to me. They're also in a stage of their life that they're Lisa's I'm also tired of planning dinner. And I'm gonna be stopping doing that for a while because I've been doing that for the last 50 years and I'm tired. So they're ordering dinner differently. They're doing things differently. And so there's a lot of shifts that are happening in their life. And what I wanted to do today is going to be their last service for a while. And while that brings me some sadness, I just thought it was so cool because this community is learning how to do goodbyes well and learning how to say goodbye and how to be honest and open with what's really going on and what our needs are. And so I asked them today if we could just make it open and let them share what's going on for them, because they're going to be back. A lot of times when people leave a church, they just leave out the back door. Have you ever all been there? You just sort of fade off into the horizon and you just never come back, and nobody knows why. But I thought, in the spirit of being good representatives and modeling what healthy soul seasons are, taking care of yourself and recognizing that at this season of my life, I just need something different. I just think this is rock star behavior. And so we're not losing them forever, and they might not even be gone for very long because the Travers and Megan are having a baby and they can't stay away from that also, so like I mentioned. But they're thinking that just for the summer they need a different routine. Troy and Lisa, would you be willing to share how this feels different to you from previous experiences you've had in church? And just what's going on for you and how we can support you during this time.
Man, I didn't know you were going to ask us to share.
You don't have to.
I think that the most beautiful thing about this has been the fact that it was a conversation that we were having, for a little while, of kind of like Bonnie said, just a sense of honestly wanting to have a whole, for me, a lot of it was wanting to have a whole weekend of not having to be anywhere, and that seems really odd. But our biggest fear was not wanting to lose community. I mean, you know, I'm very open in saying the reason that I am here is for the people who are sitting here. Absolutely. The spiritual things are good too, but it is more than anything the people that are here. And you know, when we were thinking, gosh, we found ourselves on Sunday mornings a lot of times going, gosh, I really just want to stay home. I don't want to have to get ready. I don't, you know, that kind of thing. I had a realization that for 30 years, between, you know, we'll be married 30 years in August, and that was really when we started going to church. And for 30 years, this has been something that we've done. And for a lot of those years, I mean, man, we just like, there was no sense of I'm going to get up on Sunday morning and choose to not go to church. Like, you did not do that at Fellowship Bible Church, you were there. Yes. Anyway, I'm rabbit trailing. The most beautiful thing about this has been the support of Bonnie. When Bonnie did not, and when we mentioned it to Jewel, and when we mentioned it to Heidi, and there was no sense of like, okay, what you want to do, that's fine, but I'll be praying for you while you're
Choose your own life, I guess.
Yeah. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about this church is that support of you know, take care of yourself and what you need to do. And we also made the decision that we wanted to have an end date. We didn't want to be like, hey, we're going to be gone for a while without having an end date in mind. Our thought is like, just being out in kind of for the summer, we're thinking probably come back at the beginning of October. But also we might in 6 weeks go, we got to go back and see her. Anyway, it's been...
Then your life sucks without us.
My life sucks. Well, and I was telling somebody I need to make sure that Megan and Trevor know that, like, he's not. That if they decide they're bringing TJ to church while we're out on sabbatical, I need to know. I mean, it's just it's a beautiful thing to feel supported in making this what feels like a very bizarre decision.
Have you ever experienced a church doing this in your life? Like, no. It's so healthy. It's so freaking cool. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of us. And so we're going to miss them, but we send them with our blessing. And that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so cool.
100%.
And so all the rest of you are bound to stay with me for the rest of your lives. But they can go, and it's fine, and we come back. But nobody else come up to me and go, hey, about what the Mahonies are doing. Yeah. I really feel...
Yeah, let's not have a mass exodus at this point.
Why don't you stand with me? So we just love this. We love healthy relationships. We love being honest and open. If you have a feeling of wanting to come and take over what they've been doing, if something has prompted you on the inside, like, hey, I would like to do that, come and talk to Jewel about it.
What exactly have they been doing? Sorry.
You can talk to Jewel about it.
What have they been doing? They do all of this.
All right.
They have this little pipey thing, and it fills up all these things, and you can't spill them, and it's turn on lights, they chairs, trash, they do all the things.
All right, let us go.
Ellie wants your job.
These worship stations today, and then we will shift gears to the auction and have you guys out of here in the next 30 minutes or so. But let us be intentional about this today, thinking about what it means to be restored and surrendered. Keeping the Mahonies in our hearts, as this is their last communion for a while, and sending them some love. Let's refrain from conversations right now, from hugging them at this point, okay? So even though it's going to feel awkward to be like walking next to them and not reach out, let's not do that for right now, and let's do that after we do our worship together, keeping it quiet in here so that we can be in our inner sanctuaries. God bless you as you go. Would you stand with me as we welcome Katie coming back down for communion? And as you prepare your heart, what is your intention that you're going to use as you take the communion today? How might you reimagine your relationship with surrender? On the night that Jesus was betrayed, he took the bread and broke it, saying, "This is my body, broken for you. As often as you do this, remember me." House Church, take and eat the body. On the same night after the supper, he took up the cup, saying, "This is my blood, a new covenant in my love. As often as you do this, remember me." House Church, take and drink, a new covenant in God's love and healing hope. The children may now take up the cups. And Morgan and all who wish to change the light will make their way to the cross. Look at those beautiful lights preparing, demonstrating, representing the prayers of the people. All is well. And so, all those who want to make their way to the candles, I know Matthew's been waiting for this. And so, beloved, let us love one another. For love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. And this is love, not that we love and impress God, but that God loves us and gave God's Son to be the mercy seat for our sin. In light of this glorious truth, let us be tender-hearted toward one another, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ has abundantly forgiven us. And as we have freely received today, let us go and freely give. God bless you. And God bless our Arlo for showing and demonstrating the entire sermon. Yes. And for Piper's beautiful mother. God bless you, parents. And you may now change the